On screen, we talk to director Sue Brooks and star Radha Mitchell about filming in the Great Western Wheat Belt in Looking for Grace.
Where do you think you're going?
Grace! Australian writer and director Jennifer Peedom joins us to talk about her award-winning documentary, Sherpa, Trouble on Everest.
The worst disaster of the history of Everest happens in front of us.
We look at Carol, the story of two women, played by Kate Blanchett and Rooney Mara, who fall in love in 1950s New York.
Carol, I miss you.
Hello and welcome to Screen. And hello to you too, Tegan.
Hi, Tegan.
Hello. So it's the last episode of the season. I'm quite sad. I'm really upset about it. But I've still got some great stuff to talk about. Yeah. So it's award season in the online world, and I've got the winners of the Best Drama, Best Comedy, and a car show that is the most watched DIY show on the internet.
I'm a redhead, can't wait. Radha Mitchell has carved out an interesting career for herself internationally. She's come back to this country to make Looking for Grace, written and directed by Sue Brooks, which had the distinction of being selected for competition at this year's Venice Film Festival. Mitchell plays Denise, the mother of Grace, Odessa Young, a young girl whom we meet travelling in a bus in the wilds of Western Australia with her friend Sappho, Kenya Pearson. The dynamic changes when Jamie, Harry Richardson, gets on board. Meanwhile, Denise discovers Grace is missing with a considerable chunk of money from the family's safe.
Well, how much was in there?
A bit.
How much is a bit?
Quite a bit.
She and her husband Dan, Richard Roxburgh, set off in search of Grace in the company of a private detective, Tom, Terry Norris, whom they've hired to help find her.
Is she sensible?
She's as sensible as her father.
I don't think we'll need to be checking the dental records on this one.
Welcome, Sue and Radha, and I've got to say at the outset, I think this is one of the most mesmerising and funny, moving and stylish films I've seen for a long time. So I'm just getting that over and done with, so there you go.
Thank you.
Where did the story start, Sue? How did it get into your head?
Well, the actual story started when I first read a newspaper article years ago on a plane about some girls who'd stolen some money from their father's safe and run away from home, and I thought that was a good start for a film. And that was the first little seed of the idea.
Well, you've chosen to tell it in a quite elliptical way. Can you... I'm fascinated to know how long the script took to develop the way it is at the moment.
Most of my life, I think.
It's a very short life.
Yeah, it's very short. It's a short life, yeah, that's right. No, it took a long time to develop it, but the hard bit was actually sort of sticking to our guns about that and wanting it to tell it that way, because a lot of people wanted to see it told in a more sort of traditional way. So, a lot of the time in development was just sort of hanging on to the idea.
Radha, it's lovely to see you back in Australian films.
It's lovely to see you.
What connected you with this one?
Well, I read the script. The script was sent to me, so it was just the script itself. And I spoke to Sue about it after reading it, and I was like, "Who is Denise?" Yeah. And she's like, "I don't know." And I didn't really know who Denise was either. And I think Denise didn't really know who Denise was. And her kind of inklings of discovery of who she is and how she actually connects to these people she loves. And the sort of mystery and the banality and then the sort of poignancy of all that was what drew me to the piece.
And what's Sue like as a director, just between you and me?
Just between us. Yeah. And Sue. Yeah. She's wonderfully trusting, which for an actor is very liberating. I think she has a lot of confidence in the people she chooses to work with, including the crew and the cast. So for an actor, and for everybody involved, you feel like there's a magic and an uncertainty and a kind of excitement, which you all feel like you're in a process of discovery.
Radha, how did you work with Richard Roxburgh and Terry Norris, both of whom are fabulous with you?
I'm just huge fans of both of them. In particular, Terry Norris, who I think at the time we were shooting the film was 80 years old. And Richard is a very energised actor, and to act with him, I think he inspires everybody in the scenes with him to kind of meet him at this kind of at this level. And he has a really obtuse humour, which is really fun. It's just fun to hang out with him.
Listen, both of you, congratulations on the film.
Indeed.
I hope it does really well. I hope a lot of Australians and people around the world go and see it. It's really beautiful. So good luck with it.
Thanks. Thanks heaps.
Should call the police.
Suppose so.
I'm going to say.
You tell them that your daughter's missing. Someone's stolen $7,000 out of your safe.
Oh, God.
Well, it should be pretty obvious. I love this film. I love the discontinuous narrative style of it. I love the oblique humour of it. I love the Raymond Carver-like minimalism of it. I like the idea that our destinies are completely out of our control, that our lives are governed by fate and chance, and how timing is probably the most important thing in our lives. I'm still thinking about this film, and that doesn't happen all that often. It's one of those films that could possibly change the way that you think about your own life. It's really an extraordinarily accomplished bit of work.
I've been a fan of Sue's for many years, you know, with Road to Nil, Japanese story. Yes. And it strikes me that she gets at the heart of the minutiae of being human in her films. There's enormous compassion in them. She brings together fabulous performers, I mean, really. But also, I mean, we talked about it, that stillness with which she approaches film. And this one is especially so. You know, there's just a lot of beauty in this film.
Well,
I think
inside the beauty of the landscape, though, crazy, surreal things happen. And inside this stillness that she brings to the movie and the way she frames things, crazy things happen too, sometimes quite deranged things. There's a couple of scenes where Roxburgh, who is seemingly quite a normal sort of guy, suddenly goes berserk and whacks things and smacks and smacks things out, and then he's back being quite normal again. This is all within the stillness of the framing. You think, where does that come from and what does it mean? And it's so funny that this really is one of the finest Australian films made to date. I don't think there's any
Well, it's
doubt
no
about
wonder that it was selected for Venice, and I've got to tell you, not too many films from here have been selected for the Venice competition.
And I love particularly the whole idea that we're all of us in our lives are looking for grace, but some of us are just destined never to find it. I think that's just so touching and funny at the same time. I'm giving this film 4.5.
Look, honestly, we are agreeing today because I'm giving it 4.5 too. I think it's really wonderful. I don't know that it is, you know, one that the masses are going to embrace.
It might be a bit clever.
But it ought to. It ought to. That's what I think.
People will be very touched by it and incredibly entertained by it at the same time. But it also is, in many ways, quite confronting, and it will make people think for a long time.
And austere in a lot of ways too. But it's beautiful. Really beautiful. Well, next up, a story about forbidden passion set in 1950s New York, with two women from very different backgrounds falling in love. Kate Blanchett plays the title role of Carol in the film based on Patricia Highsmith's novel The Price of Salt, which has been directed by Todd Haynes. Carol is a wealthy, alluring woman trying to extract herself from her marriage to a man she cannot love, but who does not want to let her go. She meets Therese, Rooney Mara, a young shop assistant in a Manhattan department store, and there's an immediate spark between them. When Carol asks Therese to go on a road trip with her, the young woman breaks up with her boyfriend to make the journey that has unexpected ramifications for both of them.
She's still my wife. I love her.
I can't help you with that.
It shouldn't be like this.
I know.
Well, I got to say, I was a little bit mesmerised by this film, by its sheer emotional power, its restrained grace. you know, it's really about love as a kind of obsession and courtship as an extended ritual. And I thought that was so absolutely beautifully, wonderfully done here. It is just an extraordinary, entrancing bit of work, this one.
Well, you know, Todd Haynes is drawn to this sort of suppressive environment. This film wouldn't work if it was set in the present moment because you'd go, well, who cares if two women want to be together? But at that time, that relationship was absolutely, you know, something that was hidden. The only thing that I felt as a criticism of the film, I felt sometimes it was being over-stylised. And I thought if there was another shot of one of these women looking out of a rain-smeared car window, I was going to...
I didn't mind that. You could see the influence of Edward Hopper's paintings right through it, and the DOP, Edward Luckman, gives it a burnished kind of
cinematographer,
gauzy feeling, and I think they're trying to sort of approximate that feeling of first falling in love, where it's all a bit gauzy and a bit, you know, a bit out of control, and that giddiness that keeps going until eventually it just maybe stops. I just love this film, and at the end I almost wanted to cheer. It was so stylised, it was so incredibly real. I was so emotionally engrossed in it. I wanted to stand up and cheer and cheer those women for having come out of the shadows and made their small stand. I thought it was terribly emotionally involving.
I think this is a really wonderful film. I'm giving it 4.5 stars.
Well, I hate to agree, Margaret, but I'm giving it 4.5 as well. I just think this is so good. I mean, it's almost a 5, but it's maybe there were too many shots through the rain-spattered windows, but it's a 4.5. Coming up, buildings tumble, in demolition, the wrecking crew.
Filmmaker Jennifer Peedom talks about being in the right place at the wrong time while directing Sherpa, Trouble on Everest.
And some of the best Australian web series of the year, including a car program that racks up over 3 million views a week.
Welcome back. Our next film, Sherpa, Trouble on Everest, by Australian writer and director Jennifer Peedom, recently won the Grierson Award for Best Documentary Feature at the prestigious BFI London Film Festival. In 2014, an intrepid group of filmmakers set out to document the climbing expeditions on Mount Everest from the point of view of the Sherpas who assist them on the dangerous ascent. Instead, they captured a tragedy that would change Everest forever, when a 14,000-tonne icefall crashed down onto the climbing route, killing 16 Sherpas. In the aftermath of this terrible event, the Sherpas become angry and obdurate, threatening the success of planned expeditions, leaving operators and clients in a state of uncertainty.
Welcome to screen, Jennifer, and congratulations on a moving and riveting and completely fascinating, very political film. So tell us where it all began for you.
Thanks, Graeme. Well, I mean, on and off over a decade, I had been working as a camera operator and director in the Himalayas. I'd been working on various expeditions, a big film for Discovery Channel. I'd made a film for Dateline SBS about the Sherpas on Everest. So it had always been a kind of an angle to Everest that I'd been interested in. And then having worked on those other expeditions was just, you know, increasingly frustrated to the extent to which the Sherpas ended up on the cutting room floor, and I knew that it upset them. And even though they would never say so, but, you know, I could see their disappointment because they've got access to YouTube now and they can see these things online and they say, well, hang on, but I rescued that guy. Why was that cut out of the story?
I was absolutely fascinated by both the editing of this film but also the manufacture of the film, if you like. I mean, you use about, I would assume, about 5 different camera processors.
Yeah, we used everything from GoPros and iPhones. There were 3 cinematographers, 2 Americans, highly experienced climbing cameramen, and an Australian DOP, Hugh Miller. And he and I went ahead a couple of months earlier and took cameras over and especially trained 2 cameramen that Perbatashi had recommended might be good candidates for this kind of work.
So I want to know is, you know, this event happens in the middle of a film that you hadn't intended to make. I mean, you wanted to go up the mountain. What happened? How did you feel at that point?
Oh, I mean, it felt awful. The original intention had been to follow this ascent from the Sherpa's point of view and capture all of the drama that inevitably would have entailed, and usually that means summit day and even more so on the descent when things often go wrong. But here we were 2 weeks into an 8-week expedition and the worst disaster of the history of Everest happens in front of us. And I was awake in my tent, I was writing a shot list and I heard a sudden buzz of radio traffic. I woke up the camera crew, we grabbed cameras and we sort of didn't stop running for 2 weeks.
What draws you to these adventurous locations, you know, with Solo, the kayaking expedition, this?
You know, being in those environments I find very enlivening and exciting, but it wasn't for the natural world that necessarily I was going there this time. It was really very much to tell this story about this changing dynamic between the Sherpa guides and these foreign climbers.
Jen, it's been really fascinating talking to you about this film. It's wonderful. So congratulations and thank you for coming in.
Pleasure.
She's such an extraordinary filmmaker, and you can see the integrity that just oozes out of her and out of the film.
Indeed. Well, I just feel so frustrated because there were so many more questions I wanted to ask. This film raises so many questions and answers many of them, but it still leaves you pondering so many things.
Well, you know, the fact that the Sherpas, the family of the Sherpas who died, were offered only $400 from the government, from the Nepali government, in compensation is the thing that, you know, gets them so riled up.
And there's that wonderful scene where the mealy-mouthed politician comes along to talk to them. It's a superb bit of capture, really. And
but you know, the fact that she's had access to this family, and it's such a beautiful family in this village where many of the Sherpas come from, you learn a lot. And the focus on this group that is, you know, sort of almost taken for granted, and how they've been put to the forefront of this film, I think is really significant. I think it's a fine piece of work. She's really brought together a very talented group of people. Look, I'm giving this 4.5 stars.
Well, I'm agreeing. I'm giving it 4.5 as well. I think this is a most unusually good piece of filmmaking. Now to a 3-part BBC series which celebrates and documents the demise of massive structures across the UK. In Demolition, the Wrecking Crew, we meet the experts and characters who plan, engineer and complete the removal of obsolete, damaged or dangerous buildings. In the first episode, a demolition crew attempts to bring down the 100-metre-high cooling towers of a power station, which has long dominated the Oxfordshire landscape.
We've got 9 minutes to go. They've just done the warning siren over the radio, so I think everyone's just feeling a little bit tense, a little bit anxious, a little bit of what to expect.
And in Hastings, one of Britain's favourite piers needs saving, with a little bit of demolition along the way, in an intricate and difficult operation.
Do you know, this series depresses me a little bit. Do you know those cooling towers that they're going to implode? I thought of all those people that had spent all that time building those things over the years. And I'm really sad. I'm sad that it's... I hate seeing things destroyed.
Get ready.
Firing now.
I really don't like it. I mean, it's different with the pier in Hastings, you know, because it's a repair job. But the cooling towers, I really minded to make way for apartment buildings and, you know...
But there's something atavistic, isn't there, about watching, you know, the need to watch these buildings come down, these edifices come down. Maybe it's to do with the fact that so much of it is bad architecture, and we can celebrate the destruction of the past and the bad, and celebrate possibly, you know, the new architecture.
And that guy from Lancashire, I mean, honestly, he sounds like a person I wouldn't like at all because he's so bossy. And apart from anything else, can you understand a word that comes out of his mouth?
Oh, this is the one that has to demolish a
The bridge.
Yes, a bridge, which is a very interesting segment.
I
But he's a
wondered
really
about that.
interesting character, though. He's so rough and tumble.
I
like it now. No, I don't.
But he's an egoist, you know, you can tell. He
but he does
around.
something. As he says, everyone else is at home watching X Factor. I did this. I got rid of this bridge.
Yes, I know, I know.
It's a good sequence, I
you
think,
like
though.
that.
I like that.
I wanted to hit him over the face. He was so
Well, that was good, though,
annoying.
that you did want to do that, because I think the thing what the series lacks is the human stories, and he at least was a strong human story. It concentrates too much on the technical, the scientific side.
I didn't mind that. I don't mind that. I mean, I thought that was why the bridge in Hastings that had been damaged by a fire, and they want to save this pier underneath that's sort of centuries old. I mean, there were good things in parts of it, but to tell you the truth, I would most probably not watch another one.
No, I'm pretty much the same. I didn't find it all that satisfactory at all, I have to say. I'm only giving it 3 stars.
Hey, snap, 3 stars.
Snap! Boom, boom!
Christmas is family time. Love it or hate it. It's when we all get together, buy the wrong presents, make faux pas. We want to be part of something meaningful, but sometimes it's not so easy, as you'll see in Love the Coopers. Diane Keaton plays Charlotte Cooper, whose marriage to Sam, John Goodman, is fracturing. But she wants to have one last Christmas with the kids.
This is the only time of the year when we're all together. I want everyone to have the memory of a perfect Christmas.
Unfortunately, Charlotte's single sister Emma, Marissa Tomei, who's envious of Charlotte's seemingly perfect life, gets caught shoplifting. Daughter Eleanor, Olivia Wilde, dreads having to confront her parents with her single status. So she persuades casual airport acquaintance Joe, Jake Lacey, into being her make-believe boyfriend.
Be my boyfriend for one night.
Oh, no way.
He would make my parents so happy. All we'd have to figure out is how long we've been together and what your name is.
Well, Love the Coopers, I couldn't wait to leave them. Probably should have been called, I don't know, Jingle Hell. Jingle Hell.
Let's not Love the Coopers. But, there are some interesting things in this. The strongest strand, I think, is the Olivia Wilde,
yes, that does
Jake
work
Lacey.
very well.
Because he is so dynamic and cute, to tell you the truth.
Yes, but there's also a believability aspect to it. I mean, and there's a sincerity and an intensity in their relationship, which is lacking through the rest of it.
And that's nicely written. I mean, Diane Keaton does Diane Keaton.
All that double taking thing that she does so
I know.
well.
I mean,
she's pretty cute.
Actors do have tics.
Yeah, and we like them for it, too.
And, well, we loved her in Annie Hall.
Yeah. But John Goodman could have had a few more tics. He plays it very straight and very plain.
I thought he was impressive in this, too.
I didn't like. I would have liked more of the sort of mugging John Goodman, a bit more energy. He was,
no.
In fact, a lot of it lacked energy.
I thought he was... No, I thought... And, he's lost so much weight that I actually looked at him quite concerned. But he looks healthier.
I think he was a better actor when he was fat.
Oh, no. He wasn't.
I just didn't... The whole thing, I felt like a bit of a Scrooge, I have to say. I didn't find it very funny. I found most of the jokes cringe-worthy. There were too many stories, too many storylines that were undeveloped. There was a bizarre thing with Alan Arkin in love with a 14-year-old girl, which didn't make much...
No, excuse me. No,
creepy
she's
Christmas.
Not. No. She's not 14.
Oh, she's 14.
Well,
he's about 87.
Yeah, but it's not that sort of relationship.
Oh, the way he was looking at her was that sort of relationship.
Oh, God. All right, we're not enamoured. It's a bit of a shame because everybody likes a nice Christmas movie.
Yeah, but this is the dysfunctional family-type Christmas movie.
But it's sort of like it all gets wrapped up so neatly in the end. So, I mean, you're not going to walk out crying.
No, you're not.
I'm giving this 3 stars.
No, I'm giving it 3 as well. I probably should have given it 2.5, but
You want to agree with me?
No, I don't. Well, I do, actually, up to that point. I did think it was very well shot and the camera work was terrific and there were some very clever things from the director, but overall, a 3. Next week sees the prestigious Actor Awards, which celebrate the best in Australian television and film, including many of the shows and movies we've featured on screen this year.
It's been a good year for Australian films with the highest attendance for many years, so it should be a great night. Congratulations to all the nominees.
And the awards have already been handed out for the best of Australia's online world. So I thought, as it's the last show of the year, it's time to take a look at some of the winners of the 2015 Australian Online Video Awards. Best drama went to the sci-fi thriller Airlock, starring Mark Cole-Smith from Last Cab to Darwin. This online series really does bring big production value to the small screen.
Now we have a common enemy. And together we will find a place to be whole again. You tell me, Captain, what would you do to keep your family alive?
The Best DIY Show and the Best Channel winner was the slick and hugely popular car show Mighty Car Mods. It's made by two friends who travel the globe modifying crap cars into muscle machines. And with over 3 million regular viewers, it's the most popular DIY car show in the online world.
All I'm doing is just going sideways, Martin. It's kind of all it does. Well, it's kind of what it was built for, I guess. Now, I think we should talk about how... It's awesome.
Such a boy show. The winner for the best animation was the stop-motion music video Colorblind by Samuel Lewis. It's all done without digital effects, including a 1-second shot which took 10 hours to make.
The way we are moving, don't sing wrong. 'Cause it's only now I feel like I belong.
And the gong for the best comedy was taken by How to Talk Australians, a series where Australian cultural intricacies are explained by the staff at an English language school in Delhi, India.
Make sure you never call anybody in January. Why? Because they have all gone on holiday, gone away. Whereas they like to say, buggered off. Now, everybody, what have they done? Okay, one more time. But this time you have to say it like you mean it, like you have gone on holiday. It is the wonderful day for you, okay? Now, what have they done?
That's us.
That's us.
It is.
Buggering off. But, you know, you're right. That Airlock has amazing production values.
It really does.
Such good performances, not just from Mark Cole-Smith. It's really, really good. But the one that got me is the animation. I love the way that these blocks of wood achieve a humanity that's I actually felt like crying at the end of that little segment. It's really beautiful.
I think, you know, one of the great things that I've really realised this year, working with you guys and bringing all these shows, is how strong the calibre of Australian talent is when we're creating online work. In some cases, better than the stuff you're finding on television.
Yeah.
Like, our online contributions are outstanding. They really are.
Yes, but I love the final one. I think that's an absolutely fantastic bit of television. I mean, that can appear on any form of streaming or mainstream television, terrestrial television, anywhere. So
I agree.
Superbly done and very, very funny.
Yeah.
Tegan, it's been a great year with you.
Thank you. It's been so lovely.
No, thank you so much. And thank you too for joining us on screen.
Yes, we're going to bugger off as well. On our final program for the year, we'd like to wish you all the best for the festive season.
Yes, be safe, be happy.
And bugger off.